All right. Would Lindsay Claire Smith lead us in the pledge of the flag?
All right. I'm going to say it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We're off. Before we approve the minutes, a couple of comments. One, there will be a special board meeting this Thursday night, July 30th, 8 p.m. It will be in the boardroom, and there will be one item on the agenda, and that will be to select an acting mayor to fulfill this term. Again, 8 o'clock Thursday night. It's been posted and published, but I thought I'd mention here this evening for those of you who have an interest. Additionally, a comment about the census. Census is going on now, as I think everyone knows, and we're hoping to get a good count here in Bolingbrook because the census figures are what they use to distribute state income tax and other funds. And Illinois is at 67.3% return. Will County is at 74.7% return. And Bolingbrook's at 75.5% return. So we like that number, but we'd like to see it go up. So if you know people that haven't responded to the census, please encourage them to do that. Matt Eastman, our staff's been doing a great job getting this out there, the information out there. So again, please help us in that matter. All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Zarate?
Here.
Trustee Lawler?
Here.
Trustee Basta?
Here.
Trustee Watts?
Here.
Trustee Carpenzano?
Here.
Trustee Jaskowitz?
Here.
I would suggest that you perhaps, when you speak, move the mic moves closer to you. It
Okay.
carries better. All right, we have everyone here. Now we have the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of July 14th. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Trustee Basta, seconded Trustee Watts. Questions, comments, corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The minutes stand approved as presented. Approve the agenda. Mr. Bowen.
Yes, I would ask that under Mayor Report A, swearing in, there were 4 paramedic firefighters going to be sworn in. We're going to strike that for tonight. We're going to reschedule it for August 11th, regular board meeting. I have no other additions or corrections.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
Motion, Trustee Carpenzano, seconded Trustee Lawler. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The agenda is presented. But now we have no approval appointments this evening, boards and commissions. So we move into reports of officers. I don't really have a lot of report at this point. I'm going to have some remarks later in the meeting. So we'll move into the first item. That's public comment regarding items before the board this evening. Is there anyone here this evening that has a comment they'd like to make regarding the agenda this evening? There will be public hearings on some annexations, but they will be restricted to the annexations themselves. So any other items, please step forward. Microphone's right here. Seeing none, we'll go to the first motion this evening.
Roger, I have 2 emails that people have sent me to read during the public comments. I can do it now or I can do it during the topic. I have 2 emails from different residents who would like me to read them at the meeting. I can do it when the topic is on the agenda or do it now. Village trustees, I would like to voice my concern about having our mayor be part-time during this upcoming term. My opinion on this has changed over the past several months, being as we are facing challenges caused by the pandemic. In my opinion, we need to have a full-time mayor that is able to visit businesses during the day and ensure that the village is behind them and helping them succeed during this difficult time. A part-time mayor only having to work 10 office hours a week and would likely still have a full-time job during the day, which would limit this type of one-on-one conversation that needs to happen. Excuse me. Nothing against the 2 co-village managers being hired. I just don't feel that the village managers would carry the same weight and give the same confidence as someone with the title of mayor. This is something that does not have to be done during this term, and I hope you decide to wait until next term, or at least until October, when you have 180 days prior to the April election, to give more residents a chance to have input now that everything is provided on a new role, salaries, village manager positions that were not shared until recently. My other thought is that why are all of you not having town halls to discuss this in an open forum like you did with the garbage cans? This is a more serious issue than whether people want or do not want garbage cans, yet it seems that it's been being pushed through with little conversation with the residents as possible. If the board truly wanted public interest, I have 100% confidence in each of you to be able to get input, whether by town halls, surveys, or so on. Finally, according to the July 14th board meeting, it was mentioned that the village manager positions would be effective August 1. Why is that? If the part-time mayor vote goes through tonight, we would still have a full-time interim mayor from the August board meeting until April 2021. And to add an extra cost of village managers to the taxpayers on top of the full-time salary does not seem to make any sense. Can you please clarify this for me? And that's from Christine Mayer. Then I have another one that says, we find it suspicious that the village only considers now that Mayor Clare has declared he will not run to make changes. While we might agree with the concept, we're not sure that this village is ready for this. Many in our community like having a mayor that is available and on call for issues that arise, whether they be local ribbon cuttings, representing us in Springfield, in Washington, or meeting with other elected officials in addition to local business concerns. We believe it would be prudent to let the voters weigh in and perhaps prepare this over the next 4 years. We may also want to consider status as a city with aldermanic representation, possibly even by wards, so that we can be certain of fair representation. Bolingbrook has grown, and despite the mayor's opinion that we are built out, we believe there is considerable more growth that will take place due to the nature of shopping and working changes here in the 21st century. At best, this should be left to the next board to decide, and not by an outgoing mayor that admitted to collecting salaries for positions in which he performed no duties. We as taxpayers have now paid twice for the work of Liquor and Tobacco Commissioner. Concerned residents, Michael and Terry Ransom. Thank you.
Okay, just a couple of comments since we weren't afforded the opportunity to see these ahead of time. Just to comment on the ward system. The suggestion was we go to a city form of government and have aldermanic wards, something that I've opposed for years and years. And that would mean we would carve up the city into districts and have a trustee from the different districts. Now, if you want to see how that works, look at Chicago. I won't mention too many other towns, but North Chicago, Aurora's got their issues, Joliet's got their issues. Personally, and I think you do too, I want every trustee sitting up here to be responsible to every citizen in town, not just their neighborhood. And that's what you... So that's why we remain a village under the village form of government, to have 6 trustees elected at large, not the bureaucracy that's been created in Chicago and some of the other large cities. As far as the part-time mayor, my belief is whoever is elected mayor Thursday night will serve part-time and not be accepting a full-time administrator's salary or full-time mayor's salary. So that's why the village administrator position's on the agenda. And there were other points made in there, but this has been on the agenda since January. January, 7 months we've been talking about this. So to get 11th hour questions from people that I know full well watch what goes on in Bolingbrook is, well, it's okay, it's certainly fair. We had public comment tonight, but the point is, we have talked about this till the point it's been fine-tuned, I believe, quite well, and that's why it's on the agenda this evening. But thank you for sharing. Next, we have a motion to adopt the revised organization chart for village personnel. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion trustee Basta, second trustee Carbonzano? Lawler, okay. This is a reorganization that was discussed a moment ago in the letter, and that's where we'll have a co-manager. The 2 people that will be swearing in a moment, if this is approved, one will be in charge of public safety and all related opportunities. The other will be in charge of public services, planning, engineering, and all those areas of the village. It's 2 people that we have in mind. They're longtime residents. I will go into that in more detail in a minute. But this has been discussed again for hours, and I know, for example, trustee Jazowitz was happy with it after he had it discussed with him. So I believe the other trustees have all concur, and that's why it's on the agenda this evening. The motion's on the floor. Discussion.
Shouldn't we approve the changes in the municipal code and appoint, or say that we want a village administrator before we change the organizational structure?
Question?
Shouldn't we be voting on the municipal code changes prior to you changing the organizational structure?
The organizational structure is a separate document. It was approved and is approved annually in the budget. The ordinance that is before you later this evening that has to deal with the part-time mayor also does make those code changes to the municipal code, creating the co-administrator positions. These appointments are not effective till August 1st, and so when you approve the ordinance regarding the part-time mayor later this evening, the code changes will be in place before the appointments are effective.
If the part-time mayor that's appointed decides they don't want this type of structure, are they able to change it?
Municipal code allows for changes at any time.
Okay.
There questions?
I'll just make a comment, Mayor Claire. At the top of this organizational chart are the residents of the village of Bolingbrook, and I fielded a lot of questions about that. The organizational chart is obviously in front of us this evening, but it is important to know that your elected board, your mayor and your trustees, all report up through the residents of the village of Bolingbrook. So I just wanted to call that out. It is built into the chart itself.
Any other comments? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate. Trustee Lawler.
Yes.
Trustee Basta.
Yes.
Trustee Watts.
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano.
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Next, I have a motion to swear in Ken Temple and Lucas Rickelman as village co-administrators effective August 1st.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Lawler, seconded by Watts. Any discussion? Yes.
And I have nothing against these two gentlemen here at all, but the biggest concern I have, and it was pointed out to me several times today by several different people, is we have codes in our employee handbook on announcing vacancies. There's a 7-day rule in there for that. There's a variety of other things that have to take place before we can hire somebody. Has that all been taken place? Has all that taken place so that we can legally go forward with this?
The posting rule deals with union positions. These are appointed positions.
Because when I pulled it up, it didn't mention union at all in any way, shape, or form.
Well, they're not for appointed positions.
Okay.
Other questions? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate.
Yes.
Trustee Lawler.
Yes.
Trustee Basta.
Yes.
Trustee Watts.
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano.
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz.
Yes.
All right, I want to swear these two gentlemen in, so I'd like to start with Ken Temple. Ken, would you come up here, please? A little bit about Ken Temple. All I know, many of you know Ken. Been around a long time. What, Ken? We're going to swear you in over there by the microphone. Let me read a little about you first. Ken Temple is 50 years old, grew up and still lives in Bolingbrook, born and raised here. Graduated from Bolingbrook High School in 1987. Has a master's degree in public safety administration, a master's degree in management and organizational behavior. Ken has also served as an adjunct professor for the Suburban Law Enforcement Academy, teaching courses in solutions to supervision and management issues, and contemporary leadership issues in law enforcement for several years in Illinois and Wisconsin. I thought you only fished in Wisconsin.
You can't now with COVID.
Ken has been with the Bolingbrook Police Department for over 32 years. Ken served as a community service officer, a patrol officer, a school resource officer, a detective, a patrol sergeant and lieutenant, a support services lieutenant and commander, commander of investigations, deputy police chief, and finally as public safety director. He has volunteered for Special Olympics of Illinois for the past 30 years, raising money with other members of the police department. He's a graduate of Northwestern University School of Police Staff and Command and the FBI National Academy Class 254. Ken will be retiring as a police officer in the police department after 29 years, 7 months, 22 days on this Friday, the 31st. In his spare time, Ken enjoys working around the house, traveling, spending time outdoors with his dogs, hunting, and fishing.
Absolutely. So here I have my dad, Rich Teppel, my mom, Janice Teppel, my sister, Catherine, my girlfriend, Laura in the back, and behind my mom, that's Isabel, and my nephew, Matt. Isabel's my niece.
Now, just point out, Ken is retiring this Friday as police chief, director of public safety. He has been around here forever. I know a lot of kids know him. He's been in the schools, very popular guy, and he's worked for almost 30 years as a police officer. Now, that entitles this man to a pension, which he will be drawing. He's earned every penny of it. He could leave, like 3 of our last 4 chiefs, or probably all 4 of them, and go somewhere else and make 6 figures running a security firm, working in some kind of position, teaching, what have you. But we did not want to let this talent and this knowledge and go away. And the learning curve that if we brought in somebody from outside would be huge. So Ken will hit the ground running Monday morning. I've noticed him, as Lucas, who I'll be swearing in a moment, were extremely helpful to me during the COVID-19. They were the 2 people in charge, and they would bring me up to speed on certain facts and statistics, and we would compare notes on what we were all hearing and so forth. So you can rest assured you will be in good hands with Ken Tipple handling police, fire, and those related services. So Ken, if you would, at this point, I state your name.
I, Kenneth Teppel,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will uphold the Constitution of the United States,
to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the municipal code of the Village of Bolingbrook,
the municipal code of the Village of Bolingbrook,
and I will faithfully discharge my duties
and I will faithfully discharge my duties
as co-administrator for public safety
as co-administrator for public safety
to the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
in a manner prescribed by law.
in a manner prescribed by law.
Next, Lucas Rickelman. Lucas, would you come forward? And your family, President? Lucas is 41 years old, also grew up in Bolingbrook, and of course lives in Bolingbrook, as does Ken. He graduated from Bolingbrook High School in 1997. Lucas graduated from the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign with a bachelor's degree in civil engineering in 2001, has attended the Illinois Public Services Institute's management training program in 2011, obtained his professional engineering license from the state of Illinois. He's been with the Village of Bolingbrook for over 22 years. He started as a summer intern with engineering while attending college. In 2002, he was hired as a full-time engineer to help with the rapid development we were experiencing that time. He was promoted to superintendent of streets in 2006 and oversaw the street division, which included the asphalt, electrical, and concrete sections. When the village combined the community development department with the public works and engineering department in 2013, Lucas became the director of public services and development and has been over that department since. He's very active in the Bolingbrook Lions Club and likes to attend other charity events to help local organizations with community programs. In his spare time, Lucas enjoys playing golf, cheering on the Cubs, and spending time with his family and friends.
This is my girlfriend, April, and I'd like to say hi to my mom and dad who couldn't travel back because of COVID. They're watching by Facebook.
They're residents of Las Vegas now, correct?
Yes, they're suburbs of Las Vegas. They were here for 35 years, but the grandkids moved out west.
And again, you heard his history. Lifelong resident, lifelong employee, knows where all the closet doors are, knows how things got done. Most of the time, they were done well. But his experience of 22 years plus Ken's experience of 30 years puts together a very strong team. Co-administrator may be unusual to some of you, but it was the best solution. And this solution will save the village approximately $250,000 in taxes because we're combining it and doing internal changes to make this thing work. So, Lucas, if you would. I state your name.
I, Lucas Rickelman,
You solemnly swear.
do solemnly
Stand
swear.
next to him. You're by yourself over here. All right, where was I? You solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
to uphold the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the municipal code of the Village of Bolingbrook,
the municipal code of the Village of Bolingbrook,
and I will faithfully discharge my duties
and I'll faithfully discharge my duties
as co-administrator for public services
as co-administrator for public
to
services
the best of my ability
to the best of my ability
in a manner prescribed by law.
in a manner prescribed by law.
Next, we have staff reports, bill approval, Exhibit A, $958,008.07. Bill listing B, $211,440.73, total of $1,169,448.80. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion
Second.
trustee Basta, seconded trustee Carbonzano. Questions? Hearing none, all roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate?
Yes.
Trustee Lawler?
Yes.
Trustee Basta?
Yes.
Trustee Watts?
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano?
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz?
Yes.
Tax receipts, May 2020 state income tax, $727,547.21, corresponding to a year ago of $688,072.22, or a 5.7% increase. April 2020 sales tax, $2,293,871.50, corresponding to a year ago of $2,654,616.59, or a 13.6% decrease. I will add to that, the retail was closed for the most part in that month. So we only took a 13% hit in the retail sales taxes we get off retail stores. Now, there were exceptions, of course. Meijer, both stores were open. Home Depot, Lowe's, and Menards all did great business during that period because people had, well, they could do those home projects they put off. Bass Pro was open, and Costco was open. And we're looking at the sales tax figures from individual stores, which I was given today, and it's kind of stunning how well we did, even though retail in general was closed. So we're not going to be taking as big a hit as we thought with our retail, it appears. May 2020 motor fuel tax, $172,286.60. A year ago, $148,822.56, or a 15.8% increase. That increase is due primarily to the gas tax increase, which went into effect this year. The annual 2020 state administrative fee, $17,694.45. That's the fee that the General Assembly, in our wisdom, put in place to collect. For 50 years, they collected sales tax dollars and sent them to us, but because the state's in such a financial mess, they decided they start charging us 2% just as a collection charge, and that charge this past month was $17,000, and they used it to balance their budget. So, next we go into resolutions, correct? Good.
Yep.
We got a lot of items tonight, and it's a little bit of a balancing act. First resolution is approving a contract with BKD, CPAs and advisors for village's 2019-20 and 2021 fiscal audit. Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion trustee Watts, second trustee Basta. Questions? This resolution retains the service of BKD, CPAs and advisors to provide an annual audit. The contract's for 2 years. The cost is $78,781.5 for the second year. Finance Committee has reviewed this and recommends acceptance. Comments, questions? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate?
Yes.
Trustee Lawler?
Yes.
Trustee Basta?
Yes.
Trustee Watts?
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano?
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz?
Yes.
Our next ordinance, the Planning Commission has an accompanying Planning Commission report. Approval of special use permit for a planned development variances, final development plan, and final plat of subdivision. Drew Enterprises Development, southeast corner of Stevenson Drive and east-south frontage road. Paul Lombardo, Corporate Crossing Stormwater Management is the applicant. Is there a motion to accept the Planning Commission report?
So moved.
Motion trustee Jaskowitz, second trustee Carpenzano. Drew Enterprises is seeking approval. Well, I'll go to that under the ordinance. Basically, the Plan Commission sees this project, they review it to see if it fits within our codes. They put together a report and give it to us. We can either accept or reject. In this case, the report was unanimous to accept, and that's the motion before us in a moment on the ordinance. But any questions on the Planning Commission report? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Planning Commission report is accepted. Now with the accompanying ordinance. The ordinance is approving a special use permit for a planned development with variances, final development plan, and plat of subdivision, Corporate Crossings Stormwater Management. Is there a motion?
So
moved.
Motion
Second.
trustee Lawler, second trustee Basta. Drew Enterprises is seeking approval for a special use permit to modify an existing stormwater facility at the southeast corner of Frontage Road and Stevenson Drive. Upon reconfiguration, some of the buildable property will be created what Stevenson Crane would like to develop. The Plan Commission has reviewed and recommends approval. Questions? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate?
Yes.
Trustee Lawler?
Yes.
Trustee Basta?
Yes.
Trustee Watts?
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano?
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz?
Yes.
Next one, ordinance has a accompanying Planning Commission report. Planning Commission approval of special use permit for a planned development with variances of final development plan. Stevenson Crane, 410 Stevenson Drive, Dan Stevenson, Stevenson's property is the applicant. Is there a motion to accept the Planning Commission report?
So moved. Second.
Motion trustee Basta, second trustee Zarate. This is the same basically situation as the previous ordinance, so just the partner in this whole development. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor accept the Planning Commission report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. It's approved. Now we have the accompanying ordinance approving a special use permit for planned development with variances, final development plan for Stevenson Crane, 410 Stevenson Drive. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion trustee Jaskowitz, second
Second.
trustee Carpenzano. Stevenson Crane Properties is petitioned the village seeking a special use permit to allow extension and expansion of a parking lot in the southeast corner of Frontage Road and Stevenson Drive. The Stevenson Crane parking lot expansion will include 24 truck stalls and 48 automotive stalls with fueling station for the business vehicles. The parking lot will occur as a result of the modification of stormwater plan. The Planning Commission has reviewed and recommends approval. Stevenson Crane came here several years ago. It's our corporate headquarters. They do a very good business, and they're running out of space. And we were afraid we might lose them to another community because they needed more property. So we worked with them along with Paul Lombardo of Drew Enterprises, worked out a situation where they were able to take a piece of property, reconfigure it, and expand the parking for Stevenson Crane, which will keep them here in Bolingbrook. Again, it's a great business. They're the same people that during our Jubilee, our village picnic, and the 4th of July bring out their crane and wave the American flag and the Bolingbrook flag very high because they're flag wavers as I am. So great company, Dan and Donna Stevenson. Questions? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate?
Yes.
Trustee Lawler?
Yes.
Trustee Basta?
Yes.
Trustee Watts?
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano?
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz?
Yes.
Next, I have Planning Commission Board approval of special use permit for a planned development, Performance Motor Sports, 490 Wood Creek Drive, Suite C. Lewis Fair Performance Sports is the applicant. Is there a motion to accept the Planning Commission report?
So moved. Second.
Motion trustee Basta, second trustee Zarate. Again, any questions on the Planning Commission report? Hearing none, all in say aye. Favor say aye.
Aye.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. It's approved. Now we have the company ordinance approving a special use permit for a planned development for Performance Motor Sports. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion trustee Watts, second trustee Lawler. The applicant, Lewis Fair, doing business as Performance Motor Sports, is seeking approval of special use permit to allow a full-service vehicle detail center at 490 Wood Creek Drive in Suite C. He plans to lease 2,100 square feet of tenant space. All vehicles will be stored inside. The Plan Commission has reviewed and recommends approval. Questions? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate?
Yes.
Trustee Lawler?
Yes.
Trustee Basta?
Yes.
Trustee Watts?
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano?
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz?
Yes.
The next ordinance is approving a cable television franchise agreement by and between the Village of Bolingbrook and Comcast Illinois LLC. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion trustee Lawler, second trustee Carbonzano. This ordinance renews the franchise agreement with Comcast/Infinity. The current 10-year agreement expired July 12, 2020. The proposed agreement is for 10 years. The model franchise document was negotiated with the Metropolitan Mayor's Caucus and the Will County Governmental League. That's about 300 cities across suburban Chicago. Approximately 500 communities have adopted this very same ordinance. We're one of the last. The agreement provides for free basic cable services at Village Hall and school-owned facilities. The franchise fee of 5%, which is the statutory maximum of gross revenues, will continue, and Comcast Infinity will continue to provide PEG or public education government support, which is the broadcast channel on Channel 6, which the board meeting tonight is being broadcast on. There was language added would be provided if benchmarks are achieved to provide high-definition television. The benchmarks indicate the number of subscribers and the HD penetration levels. Now, there's a lot of misinformation about this franchise agreement, and I'm going to ask the village attorney to comment on this because he'll speak at chapter and verse. They do not have an exclusive coverage of Bolingbrook. But going back when cable TV was invented 30 years ago or so, Joyce Cable was the first cable provider in Bolingbrook. Joyce Cable became American Cable, became this, became that. It was finally purchased by Comcast probably 15 years ago. Jim, would you go through that?
Yes,
Here.
this is a non-exclusive, it's a non-exclusive franchise agreement. The village does have franchise agreements for cable and internet with AT&T, with a company called Viacom, and with WOW, which is Wild Out West. There's been some comments that this was an exclusive deal. It is not. However, any cable or internet provider that would want to serve the village does need to enter into a franchise agreement with us so that they can run their cables in village rights away to service either businesses, residences, commercial buildings.
So those people out there that say they have no choice but get Comcast, that is just not true. You have AT&T, you have WOW, you have others, you can have satellites, you can have whatever you want. You just have to get a franchise agreement with the village if they're going to run cable in our parkways. That's why we have a franchise agreement to entitle them to do that. So I keep seeing this on the Facebook and others, they don't like Comcast. Well, then get AT&T or get WOW or get somebody, but that's up to you as a resident. Questions? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate?
Yes.
Trustee Lawler?
Yes.
Trustee Basta?
Yes.
Trustee Watts?
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano?
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz?
Yes.
The next ordinance is to establish a new class liquor license. It'll call it the D-9. Is there a motion?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Motion trustee Watts, second trustee Pasta. This liquor license category is being created for Honey Jam Cafe. They currently have a beer and wine only license. They would like to expand that to a full service liquor license. This license would allow liquor to be sold between 6:30 a.m. and 3 p.m. daily. They close at 3 p.m., so it's not going to be open in the evening. Cost of the license will be $1,500 annually. They have new ownership there, and they're trying to do a lot of new things, and this is one of the things they wanted to add. So it's before you this evening. Questions? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate?
Yes.
Trustee Lawler?
Yes.
Trustee Basta?
Yes.
Trustee Watts?
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano?
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz?
Yes.
Okay, that's the creation of license. Now we have the ordinance actually giving the license. This ordinance is amending Chapter 13 of the Municipal Code, decreasing Class C8 beer and wine license from 4 to 3. We're taking the old license they had away. And we're increasing D9 full service from 0 to 1 for Honey Jam Cafe at 120 East Boughton Road, next right behind Portillo's. In fact, it was owned by Dick Portillo at one time. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion trustee Carbonzano, second trustee Zarate. Honey Jam Cafe has requested a full liquor license. The new Class D9 is created above. The ordinance decreases the number of C8 licenses from 4 to 3. and increase the number of D9 from 0 to 1 to accommodate the request. I would add at this point, when we give somebody a liquor license and they close or turn it back in, we take it away so that they cannot sell it as part of their business. That's a practice that happens in other places throughout the country. If you get a liquor license, you can sell your bar with the license. You can't do that here. You can sell your bar, but the license has to be turned in and reissued to the new owner. So we wanted to keep the value of a license to the village, not to restaurants. Any other comments?
Mayor, for the benefit of the residents, can you sort of define the D9 liquor license? What sort of distinguish it and makes it a D9?
Well, it's a full liquor license. It's only closed at 3 o'clock. It's just like the liquor license that Bar Louie has. It just is closed at 3 instead of 1 o'clock in the morning.
Thank you.
So basically, the fee is about a half of what the other would be. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate?
Yes.
Trustee Lawler?
Yes.
Trustee Basta?
Yes.
Trustee Watts?
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano?
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz?
Yes.
All right, when we moved the meeting from 8 to 7, we had already published a public hearing for 8 p.m. So we have to, at this time, wait till 8 p.m. to continue those public hearings because someone will suggest that we ran it through before they could get here. I'm not so sure there's anybody else on their way for the 8 o'clock meeting, but just to be safe, we have to wait till 8 o'clock to do that.
Mayor, before we do that, I think there's a presentation.
We have a presentation that somebody would like to make, so we have this little moment here. Will the presenters please come forward?
Bolingbrook Muslim Association. Comes.
He's coming.
It's the Bolingbrook Muslim Association. Want to make a presentation this evening. The agenda had already been published, so we've added to the agenda as a courtesy to them and anxious to see what they're presenting.
Always a challenge getting that mask on and off. Thank you very much. My name is Isam Chowdhury. I started Bolingbrook Muslims when I moved here 4 years ago from the city of Chicago. Spent all my life living out there. When we made the decision to move, we had to pick a place that was diverse, welcoming, inclusive, but also when you're thinking about moving from the city to the suburbs, you also think about infrastructure, you think about sustainability, you're thinking about growth and future to be able to live and grow your family. We chose this place because of what your leadership, Mayor Clark, has been able to provide for the village of Bolingbrook, and more so for all of us, especially after, as a Muslim American, after 9/11, having to deal with all sorts of hate and things like that. There was this little pocket that was a model community, but it was well beyond just for Muslims, but for minorities all over the place. So as a thank you from all of us, from the community, as well as for what the future holds because of what you did for 34 years, you provided a model community, not just for Illinois, but for the entire country to look at. So thank you for what you've done for the community, all of us in Bolingbrook, and particularly from Bolingbrook Muslims. Thank you very much. It's a little globe with an inscription, the globe for all the inclusiveness that's been here for 34 years.
Beautiful.
I'm going to hold that for you. Inscriptions right on the bottom there.
Presented to me, thank you for 34 years of dedication from the Bolingbrook Muslims. Little globe, it actually spins. This is so cool. This will be something I will be displaying and may end up in California. But, you know, it's, again, I want to thank you for doing this. We are an extremely diverse community. I'll be commenting on that more in a minute. But the beauty of the diversity in this town is to go along, get along that we do. You saw the problems that other communities had throughout Chicagoland and throughout the country. oh, we had people that did protests, peaceful protests, but most people here realize what a get along community we have, and everybody gets along. It's because our diversity is not just, we don't have neighborhoods, you know, an African-American neighborhood or an exclusively white neighborhood or an Hispanic neighborhood. Everywhere, everybody is everywhere. And when they came to me years ago to build their first mosque, you know, we had our, not reservations about the mosque, but we knew that there might be some question because the country's not terribly forgiving on lots of things, and they carry hate and so on and so forth, as we see in many, many parts again in the country. The mosque was approved without issue, and it's been here. The first one's 15 years, at least 15 years without issue. They came over and built a second mosque, which is on Veterans Parkway and Lily Cash, again, the same way. The mosque was constructed, no issues. Are there moments when we're a little concerned, when there's issues going around the country? Yes, we're diligent, we pay extra attention. But the reality is, it works out very, very well. So this is exceptionally nice and very much appreciated. And Isam, young man, again, grew up here in Bolingbrook, full of energy. This guy's got more ideas. He's always got working on something.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Good, yes, good idea. While we're at this break, too, I'm going to mention a couple of people. I'm going to miss people, so if I didn't see you, I'm sorry. But there's some people come out tonight for this very special meeting. I'd like to quickly acknowledge Terry Winnemute, former county board member, Kirk Ovechowski, director of Fanson Romeo, was in Bolingbrook, my good friends from SAC, the Hampton Park Social Athletic Club, who raised tons of money for youth sports throughout the Bolingbrook-Romeoville area. Steve Quigley, president of Valley View School Board. Peg Danoff, president of Fountaindale Library Board. Marcelo Valencia, member of the Fountaindale Library Board. Former state rep and trustee, Jim Meyer. Where you at, Jim? Where at? Right there. Across the street, a park called Meyer Park. That's named after Jim Meyer for his service to Bolingbrook, in Bolingbrook as well as in Springfield. It's good to see you, Jim. Mike Gray, former director of public works, is sitting up on the hill. Reggie Bobkovich. Reggie worked for me for years. Outstanding woman. She made this village work, and I was very sorry to see her retire. Gretchen Schroeder, former trustee. Gretchen Schroeder, former trustee. Sandy Swinkunis, former trustee. Several of my friends from the veterans community are here. Jerry Hicks, president of Bolingbrook Park District Board's here. And a whole lot of supporters, and if I spot others, I'll introduce you, but that's who I spotted right before the
Mayor
meeting
Claire,
started.
just a quick, you didn't see her come in and she's way in the corner, but Liz Campbell's here.
Oh, Wayne Quiet, former village trustee. Yes. Sorry, Wayne. Good to see you.
And Liz Campbell. Liz Campbell.
Liz Campbell, Valley View School Board. I didn't see you, Liz.
She's way in the corner.
Thanks for coming out. One thing I can do now, what, somebody else?
The Hoogling.
Teresa.
The Hoogling.
Oh, Teresa Hoagland. Oh, yes, Teresa. I did see you. It was right there. Teresa Hoagland,
And
former trustee.
Rick Morales.
All right,
Rick
we could just go
Morales.
on for a while. Can somebody just collect the names and pass them down to me?
Mayor,
Rick Morales.
Who?
Rick Morales.
Well, Rick sent me a text, but I thought he was watching at home on TV.
He's out there.
Rick Morales,
Yay,
former
Rick.
trustee. All right, we're going to go into something that's it's not part of the public hearing. That's the public hearings for comment, but this will give you a description of the project in question. I've been doing this for almost 34 years, and plan commissions and issues about not in my backyard and so on come up periodically with developments. You know, when I bought my house, they told me the field behind me was going to be a park or a forest preserve or never going to be built on. So these issues come up when things change, and they have changed again on the west side of Bolingbrook near the Bolingbrook Golf Club. By the way, the new roundabout at King Road and Rodeo Drive is done. I'm getting lots of nice compliments on it. King Road is a beautiful road. That road system was part of a transportation plan we put together 25 years ago, and to be put in as we found the funds to do it, as well as the need. The need was here. The project took longer than expected because of a lot of utility relocations, but it's now open, and it's given us a whole new north-south access point on the west side of Bolingbrook, which was desperately needed and should alleviate congestion, some congestion on Weber Road, because people now can go straight south on King as opposed to going to Weber and around. The Kelly Farm is part of this development, and it should go up here on the screen in a minute.
There it is.
Behind you.
Oh, yes, the Kelly Farm is the yellow rectangular shaped piece. It's about 400 acres. It was purchased, Mary Kelly sold a piece of it a few years ago to the Plainfield 202 School District to become a school site. It's going to be an elementary school site. For various reasons, Plainfield decided a handful of years ago that they didn't want to build a school there, that now the property should be sold. Well, they paid a premium for it back in the premium days of about 100 grand an acre. Northern Builders, which is developing the property just east to your right, bought a piece of it and frankly wanted to buy the school district piece. We told them the school district piece predominantly was going to be residential and they could not buy it in its entirety. So they moved ahead, and you can see where the line is. Northern Builders, next slide please. Northern Builders had a line that was a little bit curved going north through the property. So Northern Builders came to us with a proposal that that line be moved, and the next slide will show you the amount of movement to two yellow pieces. The top yellow piece is about 15 acres, of which the top 2 acres, where there's little hash lines, that will be water. It'll be part of a water feature that runs across the entire north end of the property. So the top 2 acres, if that comes off the 15, and then you take off the balance for the berm that runs the length of the property, there's only about 8 or 9 buildable acres in this change. So we're changing basically 8 acres, which would have been residential, to industrial. The south piece, the rectangular piece, that's 8 acres of the 40-acre school site. That too will become a buildable piece, but if you take out the berm, that 8 acres actually is about 6 acres buildable. So this whole issue is about moving the equivalent to 15 or so acres of industrial. The remaining piece on your left will all be residential. The 32 acres left in the 40-acre school site and the entire Kelly piece north of Rodeo. I can assure you that will all be residential and will never change to industrial. Who's that? Oh. Now, people are concerned about the industrial affecting retail values. There's a berm being constructed the length of the property that's 100 feet wide, 15 feet high, and there's a requirement of 8-foot landscaping across the top of it. So the berm will consist of a 23-foot acre landscaped berm separating residential from the industrial. And again, we're only changing here about 15 acres. People are saying, well, who's going to buy houses there? Well, to let you know, this past 2 weeks, 2 lots have been sold to construct a $2 million home on in Americana Estates. Today, 4 lots were closed on in Americana Estates where a gentleman's going to build an 8,000 square foot home, which will probably run in the $2 to $3 million range. And earlier this week, a gentleman called up and bought a lot for $125,000 to build his home or their home. So it's not affecting sales at all. And we're confident this will be very attractive. Now, the next picture shows you what the berm will look like. The next picture shows you the proposed water features. Now, running the entire length of the northeast of this property will be a water area, and you'll see a better picture in a moment. The orange or the gold piece on your left, the gold piece will be a water feature. Northern Builders would have built that this summer, but they couldn't build it until King Road and Rodale Drive were done. Now that they're done, they will start construction on the water feature as well as the ponds that will run the entire length of the property. The water feature at Rodeo and Weber is also Northern Builders constructed that, so you'll see the kind of water feature they're going to build. The next picture shows you what their piece of the industrial will look like. The water feature, it runs all the way across. Rodeo Drive is the road at the south end of the picture. And the next picture is another shot of it. It's not quite as good, but go to the last page, if you would, the proposed water feature and roundabout. The roundabout is what you see at the bottom, the water feature behind it, along with the homes that will be built and the remaining residential. I think this water feature is going to add a tremendous amount of value, along with the improved Rodeo Drive, and that's the essence of what the change is that's on our agenda this evening. We will be opening up for a public hearing in about 7 minutes, but that's the gist of the change, and that's what all the concerns were about. Thank you. Two other comments were made at the public hearings. One was about the traffic noise because of Ferrara Candy, which is the building that's already constructed east of this property. And Ferrara Candy has sent us a notice. They're having extensive meetings to determine a way to avoid the backup noise of beepers and to control their truck traffic going east instead of west. We've also sent a note to every business owner in Carlo Corporate Center, which is the development east of this entire piece, the Kelly Farm. We've also had additional signage put up this week prohibiting truck traffic. And there's also been patrolling it with our police to stop truck traffic, because the truck traffic should not be going west on Rodeo. That was another concern people raised. Now, I will add that part of this problem has been created by the construction of Rodeo and the mammoth construction project at Weber Road and 55. When that project is done, I'm quite sure trucks will be anxious to go to that new intersection, with much better access to I-55. A few of them have apparently tried to go west over to Route 59 or to 126, which is what's created the problem. But those two problems are all coincidental in the road construction, and now that the road construction done, they should be alleviated. Any questions to the board? Judy Bredaway, former county board member and village trustee, is also with us this evening. Judy, good to see you. So we just kind of wait a few minutes?
You can, or you can recess.
Matt had his hand up. Did you have?
Well, we have about 6 minutes.
Mayor, Matt has.
Where are they? Where are they? Don't do any good right there. Why don't you give them to Matt? He can pass them out. Anybody that's interested. Light reading. We will reconvene in 5 minutes. So, want to take a break? 8 o'clock. We'll just not do anything for 5 minutes.
Do you want to write a card?
It's
Do you
8
wanna write a
o'clock.
card?
We can reconvene.
There's also, came in from the school board for Mayor Claire. Okay, so you've got Jim Kelly. You have, and from the township, you got Ken Burgess.
All right, next we have a public hearing, 8 o'clock. Plainfield School District 202, proposed property annexation agreement and rezoning of 40 acres located off Kings Road, Plainfield School District 202 petitioner. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Motion trustee Watts, second trustee Basta. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate.
Yes.
Trustee Lawler.
Yes.
Trustee Basta.
Yes.
Trustee Watts.
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano.
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz.
Is there anyone here this evening to speak to the public hearing regarding the Plainfield 202 rezoning? Again, this is the 40-acre parcel that Plainfield purchased for a school. Decided not to go forward with the school, so they wanted to sell it. Northern Builders is going to buy 8 and convert it into their industrial park next door. The other 32 will be adjacent to Americana Estates and the remaining Kelly Farm property. It'll all be residential. And we probably will have the same covenants on those homes that we have for Americana Estates. Questions? No one with the public? Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Motion trustee Basta, second of trustee Carpenzano. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate.
Yes.
Trustee Lawler.
Yes.
Trustee Basta.
Yes.
Trustee Watts.
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano.
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Next, we have a public hearing on the TEF Weber property, proposed annexation agreement and rezoning of approximately 6.49 acres of property at the northwest corner of Weber Road and I-55. TEF Weber LLC petitioner. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion trustee Lawler, seconded trustee Basta. In this property, it's a TF Weber property. They own 6.49 acres of property northwest corner of Weber and 555. 1 acre is currently annexed to the village. The property owners want to annex the balance. The owners filed a petition. The property is adjacent to Carlo Development, zoned industrial. The applicant, this being zoned industrial also. And the petition, Northwestern, or the annexation agreement has been negotiated. Is there anyone here to speak to that annexation? Seeing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Motion trustee Basta, second of trustee Carpenzano. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate.
Yes.
Trustee Lawler.
Yes.
Trustee Basta.
Yes.
Trustee Watts.
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano.
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz.
Yes.
The next annexation also requires a public hearing. I-55 and Route 126, proposed annexation of 43.3 acres at the southeast corner of I-55 and Route 26, Village of Bolingbrook petitioner. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Motion trustee Basta, second of trustee Watts. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate.
Yes.
Trustee Lawler.
Yes.
Trustee Basta.
Yes.
Trustee Watts.
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano.
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz.
Yes.
A number of years ago, Elmer Chicago Stone Company donated approximately 40 acres of vacant property at the southeast corner of I-55 and Route 126. The property is mostly floodplain, but within the project limits of the full interchange being included in IDOT's 5-year plan. They're planning on putting a full interchange at 126 and 55. This property is south of I-55 and butts up to that intersection. The annexation will give us jurisdiction over most of the interchange. Anyone here to speak to that annexation? Seeing none, there's a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
Motion trustee Lawler, second of trustee
Zarate.
Zarate. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate.
Yes.
Trustee Lawler.
Yes.
Trustee Basta.
Yes.
Trustee Watts.
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano.
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz.
Yes.
The next public hearing is Carlo Corporate Center amendment to the annexation agreement affecting 15.22 acres near the southeast corner of Rodeo Drive and King Road. Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Motion trustee Basta, second of trustee Zarate. Northern Builders again annexed to Mary Kelly Farm in 2016. The property consists of 326.77 acres is bordered by Rodeo Drive in the north, Dalton Lane on the east, Remington Boulevard in the south, and Kings Road in the west. They're proposing again that we amend that line, as you saw earlier, just moving it a bit, changing it about 15 acres on the bottom and 8 acres in the south. Northern Bills would like to straighten that line. That's what they'll accomplish. Are there anybody here to talk about this annexation? Seeing none, a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Motion trustee Basta, second of trustee Zarate. Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate.
Yes.
Trustee Lawler.
Yes.
Trustee Basta.
Yes.
Trustee Watts.
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano.
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz.
Yes.
That's it for the public hearings. Again, these are some projects, frankly, that I wanted to get done. We've been working on some of these for quite some time, and honestly, I wanted to see them done while I was still sitting in this position because they're a lot of work and a lot of detail, and will be 4 public hearings is quite unusual with this board, but thank you for staying with us at 8 o'clock to get those public hearings behind us. Now we move into ordinance. The first ordinance is approving annexation agreement with the Plainfield School District 202, subject to attorney approval. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion trustee Basta, second of trustee Carpenzano. This ordinance approves an annexation agreement with Northern Builders and Plainfield School District regarding the 40 acres described at the public hearing. There's a whole list of things that's stipulated here. They're all public documents. If anybody would like to see those, we'll go through it. The minimum lot size, square footage, garage size, annexation fees, driveways, et cetera, et cetera. These have all been discussed greatly at the Plan Commission and are up for approval this evening. Are there any questions? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate.
Yes.
Trustee Lawler.
Yes.
Trustee Basta.
Yes.
Trustee Watts.
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano.
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Mayor Claire.
Yes. I only vote on ties and on annexations. That's why I don't normally vote. But these are an annexation agreement. Next ordinance, annexing certain territory to the village for the Plainfield School District 202, subject to attorney approval. Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion trustee Watts, second of trustee Lawler. This ordinance annexes a 40-acre parcel and brings it into the village corporate boundaries. Questions? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate.
Yes.
Trustee Lawler.
Yes.
Trustee Basta.
Yes.
Trustee Watts.
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano.
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Mayor Claire.
Yes. The next ordinance has accompanying Plan Commission report approval of rezoning from ER Estate Residential to I-1 Limited Industrial and R3 Single Family Residence, Plainfield School District, northeast corner of Remington Boulevard and King Road. Tom Kenrich, Northern Builders, the applicant. Is there a motion to accept the Plan Commission report?
So moved. Second.
Motion trustee Basta, second of trustee Zarate. Questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The annexation or the Plan Commission report's accepted. Now we have the accompanying ordinance rezoning for property commonly known as Plainfield School District 202 property subject to attorney approval. Is there a motion?
So move.
Motion trustee Watts, second of trustee Lawler. Northern Builders is a contract purchaser on behalf of the Plainfield School District. He's seeking approval of rezoning 40 acres previously annexed. This ordinance will rezone estates residential 1.796 acres, R3 residential, and 8.204 acres to I-1 limited industrial hearing. The ordinance grants the zoning. The Plan Commission has reviewed and recommends approval. Questions? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate.
Yes.
Trustee Lawler.
Yes.
Trustee Basta.
Yes.
Trustee Watts.
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano.
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Some of you may be curious about why there's not a lot of questions. This particular issue was discussed at great length on a televised Plan Commission meeting. And subject to that meeting, there were a number of emails back and forth, correspondence, phone calls from residents and other interested parties that were, for the most part, resolved because some of the misinformation about what was really happening. So that's why the board's been fully briefed on what we're doing here this evening. And you saw the summary of it on the slideshow earlier this evening. The next ordinance is approving an annexation agreement with the TEF Weber LLC. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion
Second.
trustee Basta, second of trustee Zarate. This is a parcel, again, it's right next to the 7-Eleven at I-55 on Weber Road on the west side. It's a 6-acre piece. Everything else in that quadrant is in Bolingbrook except the 6-acre piece. So they're bringing it in, that whole quadrant now will be Bolingbrook. And again, there's a number of things that are stipulated, I-1 zoning, and so on and so forth. Questions? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate.
Yes.
Trustee Lawler.
Yes.
Trustee Basta.
Yes.
Trustee Watts.
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano.
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Mayor Claire.
Yes. This next ordinance is annexing certain territory of the village for TEF Weber property, subject to attorney and mayoral approval. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion trustee Watts, second trustee Zarate. This ordinance annexes, again, 6.49 acres into the corporate boundaries. It's being passed. It is no longer being passed subject to attorney and mayor approval. All the issues were worked out prior to this meeting this evening. Questions? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate.
Yes.
Trustee Lawler.
Yes.
Trustee Basta.
Yes.
Trustee Watts.
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano.
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Mayor Claire.
Yes. Next, we have a Plan Commission report, approval of rezoning from ER State Residential to I-1 Limited Industrial for a special use permit for a planned development, TEF Weber property, southwest corner of Southwest Frontage Road and Weber Road, Benjamin Schuster, applicant. Is there a motion to accept the Plan Commission report?
So moved.
Second.
Motion trustee Basta, second trustee Carpenzano. Questions on the Plan Commission report? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Stand approved. Next, we have the ordinance approving the rezoning described in the Plan Commission report for property known as the TEF Weber property, subject to attorney and mayoral approval. Again, that's already been resolved. Is there a motion on the ordinance?
So moved.
Motion trustee Watts, second trustee Lawler. The applicant TEF Weber property would like to rezone 6.49 acres. The 5.49 acres were automatically rezoned ER when they annexed. 1 acre was previously annexed and zoned industrial. This simply brings all the police in the same zoning. Planning Commission reviewed and recommends approval. Questions? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate.
Yes.
Trustee Lawler.
Yes.
Trustee Basta.
Yes.
Trustee Watts.
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano.
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz.
Yes.
3 more, folks. The next order is approving certain territory of the village, 43.3 acres, Village of Bolingbrook petitioner. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion
Second.
trustee Basta, second trustee Lawler. This order annexes and brings in 43.3 acres discussed during the public hearing into the village corporate boundaries. Again, it's predominantly floodplain, and it's butts the interchange is going to be built within the next 5 years at Route 126 and I-55, which will give us an interchange there, an interchange of 53 at Weber Road, and of course, Boughton Road off 355. So we'll have 4 interchanges to service Bolingbrook, not only for our residents, but for our business parks. Questions? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate.
Yes.
Trustee Lawler.
Yes.
Trustee Basta.
Yes.
Trustee Watts.
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano.
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Mayor Claire.
Yes. Next order is approving First Amendment to annexation agreement, Mary Kelly and Order of Builders. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion trustee Basta, second trustee Zarate. Northern Builders acquired the Kelly Farm in March of 2016. At that time, 214 acres were zoned industrial and 112 were rezoned single family. Northern would like to rezone 15.22 acres from R3 residential to I1. That is that wedge. It was on the northern part of the property, the yellow wedge. This is being done in conjunction with the annexation and rezoning the Plainfield School District, which we did a moment ago, where Northern also purchasing. The developer would like to square off and straighten the zoning lines in both properties to facilitate land planning. Questions? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate.
Yes.
Trustee Lawler.
Yes.
Trustee Basta.
Yes.
Trustee Watts.
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano.
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz.
Yes.
Mayor Claire.
Yes. Next, I have Planning Commission report approving rezoning from R3 Single Family Residential I1 to I1 Limited Industrial, Carlo Corporate Center, southeast corner, Rodeo Drive and King Road. Is there a motion to accept the Planning Commission report?
So moved.
Motion
Second.
trustee Carpenzano, second trustee Zarate. Questions on the Planning Commission report? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Planning Commission report's accepted. Now we have the accompanying ordinance approving the rezoning of the property commonly known as the Mary Kelly Farm, Northern Builders, Inc. Is there a motion on the ordinance?
So moved.
Motion trustee Lawler, seconded trustee Basta. This ordinance rezones 15.22 acres from residential and industrial, leaving 91.26 acres of residential. The residential property borders the Bolingbrook Golf Course. As part of the rezoning, Northern Builders has agreed to impress the residential property with building additions similar to Americana Estates. In fact, I think that's going to be upgraded to the covenants of Americana Estates. The Planning Commission has reviewed and recommends approval. Questions? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate?
Yes.
Trustee Lawler?
Yes.
Trustee Basta?
Yes.
Trustee Watts?
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano?
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz?
Yes.
The last ordinance, amending chapters 2, 3, 13, 19 of the municipal code regarding administration of the executive department. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Costa, second by Zarate. This ordinance would convert the office of mayor from full-time to a part-time position. The change will be effective with a consolidated election in April 2021. The salary for the part-time mayor would be $35,000 a year. It would include the duties of alcohol and tobacco commissioner. Trustee salaries would be $16,625, and a clerk salary would be $24,000. Part-time clerk position. The clerk's position will be part-time elected position. All salaries will be adjustable annually based on the consumer price index, which is about 1.5%, I believe, this year. This ordinance will also reestablish the village administrator position and formalize the deputy mayor position with a 5% stipend over the trustee salary. As a side note, this change has to be made 6 months prior to an election. So that's why we're making it now. This was first introduced back in January. It's been discussed on the agenda multiple times. It's been on the agenda for discussion purpose virtually every meeting since the middle of January. I am a full-time mayor. This will revert back to a part-time mayor. There's a whole host of reasons that have been discussed in this at these various meetings over the past few months. One in particular that I was concerned about, by having a full-time mayor, we're really preempting a lot of people from being able to serve as a mayor of Bolingbrook. And everyone should have that opportunity if they want to run and be elected. But in this day and age, especially with any economy, not just this economy, if you're a school teacher, for example, and Peg Danoff was the village trustee here for years, if Peg Danoff wanted to run for mayor at a full-time job, she would have to retire or quit her teaching job, serve perhaps 4 years as mayor, or maybe 8, whatever. But at the end of that period, and she wanted to return to school teaching, it would almost be impossible to find a job in the situation she left. The same is true for people that have businesses, full-time business owners. They have something to say. They're leaders. They could be mayor, but if they're required full-time, they have to quit their business. That is not, I think it should be open to everyone. The need for a full-time mayor was hot and heavy back in 2003. I've been full-time mayor since 2001 or 2. I don't recall what. I've been mayor since November of 1986. So it's about half full-time, half part-time. Full-time because what the growth was going on. We were 35,000 people when I became mayor. Now we're 76,000 people. The demands on a part-time position at the time were just insurmountable. And we went through some staff changes, a lot of growth and development, 35 million square foot of industrial property. And by the way, we're almost totally built out, none left. We have probably 2,000 to 3,000 acres of residential land left, but everybody knows what we want there, and it's going to be first class in quality. The road plans are in place. So and full-time administrators or co-administrators like we approved this evening, I think can more inadequately handle it. And that's what this change is. So at this point, are there questions? Comments? Yes.
Yeah. I've had a lot more residents reach out to me saying they would like to have at least a town hall, if nothing else, to discuss this. There's no reason we have to approve it tonight. We have till October, since we got a 6-month window there. And there are some issues in the thing that we need to look at and consider changing as well, such as the automatic pay raises and things like that. Most of the municipalities around us, the county of Will, none of them offer automatic pay raises to their elected officials. And I don't think that should be a part of this either. So I think if we could schedule a town hall, delay this, get more residents to come out, talk about it, I think we'd be better off.
We have had this on the agenda January, February, March, April, May, June. 6 months, 2 meetings a month, that's 12 meetings. This has been on the agenda for public input. Sure, we could delay it, and then delay it, and then delay it. I think there's been ample discussion. I appreciate your residents calling you at the 11th hour, But my question to them might be, where were they the last 6 months?
The other thing you have to consider is our meetings are always the same night, second, fourth Tuesday, 8 o'clock, and a lot of people can't make that. You could do a town hall on different times and different hours on weekend and maybe get more people out.
Well, it's a good point, but I think anybody that, they could send emails. I didn't get emails. So, any other questions, comments?
I'll make a motion, we amend the thing to eliminate the pay raise.
Is the motion being made? Is there a second? Dies for lack of a second. Again, that pay raise is cost of living, 1.5%. For the trustees, it would amount to about $250 increase from year to year. Not a whole lot. But it is money, it is tax money, but the cost of living amendment is in there.
Mayor Claire, I know I've said this at previous board meetings, but I too have fielded a lot of residents' calls, and I want to offer this up one more time. So the village is going through, no joke, as you can see on the agenda tonight, a lot of change. We're losing someone that has, for lack of a better term, built this town. One of, as you can see, Mayor Claire has a lot of supporters here tonight, but one of his biggest critiques has always been Mayor Claire's way is the way. What I respect our mayor more than anyone else on this board, I hope. But one of the biggest benefits of this switch is that this, and I hate to call it power, but it's been used in phone calls to me, it's been used in emails to me, this delusion of the control, the power, whatever you want to call it out in layman's term, now is afforded to how many more ears sitting on this board. So you do not have to rely on one person being our mayor, maybe not in title or administrator, but in essence, the man who ran this village. Now you have how many ears listening to you, how many additional ears listening to you that are able to provide that, not to mention professional administrators. So I just want to make that point home that for all of the critics out there, that this is, I think, one of our greatest benefits to those individuals that have questioned Mayor Claire and his ability to do things for this town, is that this gives us an opportunity to spread that amongst our board, our part-time mayor, and our co-administrators to do that. So I just wanted to add that. I know I said it at previous board meetings, but I thought it was important to say tonight.
All right, if I may correct.
Please, correct me. Sorry if I misspoke.
If I may correct your statement, the board has been here working with Mayor Claire the entire time since he was appointed mayor. And Mayor Claire did a phenomenal job of keeping us informed and getting our input on every critical decision, a few of which I'll talk about in a little while. So that appearance of absolute power, I can tell you from 25 years of experience, is not true.
And thank you, Trustee Lawler. I appreciate that. And I should say it was merely others' observations and perception. You are absolutely correct. I have only been on the board for 1 year. But yes, you're absolutely correct.
I just want to make sure folks understand that that's the way it's been operating since I've been involved.
And I'll just say, you know, from the initial onset when this was recommended, I was one that had a lot of questions and had much dialogue with the mayor and others on the topic. And I sort of see it as a reset for the village, for the internal organization. I feel very confident about the organizational structure that's being put in place and the two very capable co-administrators that are being placed. And of course, I feel confident that myself and my fellow board members will hold the necessary parties accountable through this organizational change. So I sort of see it as a reset for the village. And I believe, obviously, this is something that can be revisited down the road, right, if we determine otherwise. But based on the organizational structure that took several weeks to get it just right, to the point where we're all now confident in it, I feel good about where we're headed, and just ask for the residents' confidence in this board. And you certainly can reach out to us if you have questions along the way. But constituent services is something that has always been a primary desire of Mayor Claire's, and it has exuded through each and every one of us to the point where we are extremely passionate about meeting our residents' needs and promptly as possible, and as cost-effective and efficient as possible. So I just wanted to add those words.
Mayor Claire, if I could. Just one thing that I've been approached on regularly is how are you going to sit up there and approve yourself and approve a pay raise for yourself? So I just want to clarify that this does not take effect until next April, after the election. And as noted here today by village attorney, things can be changed. Nothing is carved in stone. If there's issues, if we see a need, it comes back. We revisit it. We take your input. We are here, and many of you have reached out during the past week with regards to a lot of this. And we've been able to field your questions, and I hope answer them to your satisfaction. But please know that we are here to address these issues with factual information if you need us. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. A couple of things, and not to beat this to death, but two other observations. First of all, there are very few full-time mayors in the state of Illinois. Chicago, certainly. I think Aurora, some of the larger cities. And there's some smaller cities too. But the vast majority of the 1,298 cities and villages in the state of Illinois are strictly part-time positions. I was tobacco commissioner, liquor commissioner. We have, as a board, worked over the last several years to change both those positions and lessen the concerns of a necessary liquor commissioner and a tobacco commissioner. We implemented 21-year-old smoking before the state did. We strongly check every tobacco dispensary in town at least a couple of times a year through stings, and we very rarely ever find any problem with anybody selling tobacco to minors. That, of course, was helped of the change in age to 21. So the duties of a tobacco commissioner have lessened over the last handful of years because of our diligence of transferring these responsibilities to our police department. Liquor commissioner, I have, much to my college friends' chagrin, eliminated basically bars in Bolingbrook. All of our licenses now are tied to restaurants serving food, and I believe it's 60%. 60%, in order to get a liquor license, you must sell 60% food. And that is lessened. We only have what would be considered 2 bars left. One of those sells food, only 1 real bar left. We have very few problems in our bars and liquor establishments too, because we too do stings, which we have very closely monitored for the last handful of years, lessening the duties of liquor commissioner and transferring those sting responsibilities to our director of public safety and the police department. So that's lessened that. And lastly, I have seen communities where there's a full-time mayor who still hires a full-time administrator. That is wrong, folks. You want to be a full-time mayor, do the thing. If you want to be a mayor and have an administrator, do it part-time. You don't need both, in my opinion. So I don't want to see a situation where somebody be elected mayor and then turn around and hire an administrator on top of it. And this will, again, resolve that. Any other comments? Roll call vote, please.
I don't think you have a motion yet.
Do we have a motion? I thought we did.
So moved.
Motion, trustee Carpenzano's.
You actually had a motion
We
in
had a
second.
motion.
Basta and Zarate, thank you.
By the way, that floodlight, your gray hair is really kind of stunning.
A few minutes ago, too, so.
All right.
It's hot.
Roll call
You want to
vote.
say something? Okay.
I would like to thank our Mayor Roger Clare, his wife Pat, Lindsay, and their family. I'd just like to say thank you so much. This man has brought so much to our community, diversity, beautiful parks, beautiful schools. I could go on and on, but I'd just like to say thank you, Roger and Pat, for your family sacrifices and everything you've done for our town. I'm very proud to say that we have this beautiful town we can live in and live as one. And I like to wish you well. We're going to miss you, and just take care of yourself with your family. Thank you.
Any other comment on this motion? Roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate.
Yes.
Trustee Lawler.
Yes.
Trustee Basta.
Yes.
Trustee Watts.
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano.
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz.
Before I say my vote, I am for the concept of a part-time mayor. I believe in that. But for the reasons I mentioned earlier, I'm going to vote no.
Okay. All right. I also want to recognize DuPage Township Trustee Alicia Bedford's with us this evening. DuPage Township Assessor Gene Kelly's with us this evening. Diane Perro, Valley View School Board members here. Major Jones, member of the Park Board and police, or no, used to be member of the Park Board. Now he's a Police and Fire Commissioner. Sorry, Ken Burgess, DuPage Township Trustee, and a very dear friend for 40 plus years, Bill Palmer. Bill, thanks for coming out. Next we have, I'm trying to decide whether to do my comments now that we have one more ordinance to vote on, or motion. Motion to accept the resignation of Mayor Roger C. Clare.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
I'll do it. A second for Pat.
You hear that, Pat?
Talk to her.
Was there a second?
There wasn't even a motion yet. I didn't hear
Watts.
the
Sheldon
Watts
Watt, and I'll do a
Carpenter.
second for in honor of Pat Clare.
All right, there'll be other times for comments, trustee comments. So good. There's a roll call vote, please.
Trustee Zarate.
Yes.
Trustee Lawler.
Yes.
Trustee Basta.
Yes.
Trustee Watts.
Yes.
Trustee Carpenzano.
Yes.
Trustee Jaskowitz.
I'll keep my streak going and vote no.
You know,
That's
I
funny.
certainly don't agree with most of your actions, but that was pretty good. Let the record show that trustee Jaskowitz doesn't want me to resign.
I love you, Roger.
He loves me. All right.
Yeah.
We have questions from the audience and press. Is there anybody, well, I've got some remarks to make. Should I make them now or go through this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
them now.
Please make
Make
your
them now?
remarks. Yes.
All right.
Mayor on wheels.
I'm doing this because I can. By the way, this podium was constructed by, well, at the direction of a good friend of mine named Bill Dugan. He was operating engineers, executive director, Countryside, 150 unions, one of the strongest unions in the country. And I was admiring this at their union hall in Countryside, and he said, "You like that, huh?" And I said, "Yeah." About 2 months later, I got a phone call, and a pickup truck delivered this to the stage. It's a beautiful podium, and it works very well for this facility. And by the way, this isn't a bad venue, is it? This works out pretty well. Well, this is it.
Gotta get more.
33 years, 8 months, and 7 days from Friday, I became mayor. There's been a lot of comment on Facebook the last few weeks. Recently, one woman complaining because I only gave a 2-week notice. You know, you got to laugh at some of these people that obviously don't pay attention to what's going on. But I mentioned at the State of the Village in January it would be my last State of the Village, which is always held in January. I've told people for months it was going to be this summer. Well, you don't get any more this summer than July 31st. But it's time. I'm going to be 75 in November. Most people have been retired for years at 75. I've been between mayor and trustee for a little 5 years, police and fire commissioner for almost a year. I've been involved in the village government here for 40 of the last 55 years of the 55-year history of this village. And I've seen a lot of changes. In fact, I've been part of a lot of those changes, as everyone well knows. You know, there's a complaint occasionally that the trustees are lemmings, or they just vote for everything, they're yes man, rubber stamps, all those cruel, insensitive, and ignorant terms. 98.9% of the things we vote on as a village board are things that were decided in a village budget hearing back in the spring. We decided to buy, for example, 10 squad cars. And then it gets to the board meeting, and we have a public bid for the 10 squad cars, and we buy them. What's there to vote against? That's all been discussed through the process. Most everything we do up here of significance goes through what's called a committee, which is a part of the board where it's discussed. They're given all this information in advance to ask questions. So there's very little of real controversy. The only controversy really comes into play in the political seasons or for political reasons. And we see that. We see it tonight. We see it other nights. But that's okay. That's our system we live in. But I've been proud to be mayor of a community that's been named multiple times by Money Magazine as one of the top communities in the United States to live in. That is absolutely fabulous. Naperville and Bolingbrook are the only two communities that have been on that list consistently every time it comes out every 2 years. And we were ahead of Naperville one year, which I got a big kick out of. But that's a great honor. That means people across this country acknowledge us. During that 4 years as mayor, there were no tax base when I started. Now we have 35 million square foot of building. When I became in office, you couldn't even build a house because our sewer plants were at capacity, and we were not permitted by the Illinois EPA to build even one house because it was maxed out. So that was dumped in my lap right off the get-go to resolve that problem. We got it resolved with the help of Governor Jim Thompson, the state, and many, many others. And we got the sewer plant constructed, expanded, and we've done much more since then, but we don't have that problem anymore. We had 35,000 people. Now we have 76,000 and growing. We'll probably top out at about 90,000 people. We used to have a lot of flooding in town. We had 300 homes that were susceptible to having their raw sewage backed up in their basement because of poor construction techniques back in the 60s and 50s and 70s. We don't have it anymore. We resolved that. We put in systems to resolve it. We built a huge stormwater system across the entire part of Bolingbrook. Most of the Bolingbrook Golf Course is a stormwater management plan to retain stormwater to prohibit any flooding on the west side of town. We planned for that. We didn't have a hospital. Now we got a beautiful hospital here at Meta Health Systems. We had no retail. Now we got a Promenade Mall. Our water sucked. We had water that was orange come out of the faucet. It was terrible. Every home in town virtually had a water softener, which aren't needed anymore. And we have Lake Michigan water, which realtors told me was one of the big plus to Bolingbrook when we got lake water. Yeah, it's a little pricey, but it costs money to pipe water from Lake Michigan out to Bolingbrook. And we're working on that price with our lawsuit with Illinois American, and I believe we will be successful. We virtually had no infrastructure. We had the most expensive home in town then was probably $150,000, $60,000. Now, as I said earlier, we're going to have homes well over $1 million and $2 million. And it's not because we want to have all those kind of homes. It's because we want diversity in our housing. We want move-up housing. It used to be said people came to Bolingbrook, they lived here, and they moved on. They moved on because they wanted to get a bigger house. We didn't have it. So every home builder came in and we had them to add size, a bigger home, different models. And we've had many people have been as many as 4 houses in Bolingbrook because of that. We had no transportation plan. Well, all of that has changed. And I want to thank some people. First of all, I want to thank the 76,000 residents who have elected me 9 times to office. I'm very proud of that because the town has grown, all the growth problems that go with growing, all the diversity we have. There's lots of issues that come into play when you grow and you had different issues. Well, we survived all that, and I was reelected, and I'm very proud of that fact. So I want to thank the residents for letting me serve as trustee and as mayor. I want to thank the staff at Village Hall, certainly Reggie and Nan, who I work close with, is in my office, but the whole staff. And I don't know a whole lot of staff members that work in the trenches because, frankly, I go through the top down. I don't bother individual employees in their job. I tell the department head, and that's the way I think a good management should run. But I know we got some great people down there. When you answer the phone, things get done. Do we make mistakes? Yes. You all make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. But believe me, we work hard to correct those mistakes when we do have them. And I'm very proud of the work that gets accomplished. A personal friend, a brilliant legal mind, Jim Bowen, sitting back here with the This man knows Park District law, county law, and certainly municipal law, and has been my right arm and my left arm for the 23 or 4 years we worked together as village attorney. He's a great guy. He can help resolve problems better than anybody I know, and he knows how to work with me, which is an accomplishment in itself.
Yeah, Jimmy.
And of course, my family, my wife, Pat. Pat, would you wave to people? She has put up with many, many nights, as you all know, with me being out and about, doing mayoral things, political things, door knocking, what have you. And I come home at, well, sometimes at 9:30 or 10, sometimes a little later. But she's been there, and it's not often been easy. In fact, at times it's been very, very difficult, because she doesn't like to read the trash that some people post on Facebook and so forth that people say about elected officials. You know, as a population, we really should be concerned about that, because I can tell you, there are people, and I spoke to one today, who will not consider public life because of the abuse of people who are ignorant, who don't pay attention, who don't know the law, who don't know facts, who don't know figures. You're going to drive a lot of good people. Those people are going to drive a lot of good people out of office, and that needs to change. My daughter, Lindsay Marie. She too put up a lot. I was not home much when she grew up. I feel bad about that. I can't unwind the clock, but I can certainly stop the clock and go forward with her beautiful daughter, Samantha Joy. She's got the wave down. And of course, her husband, Trevor. They drove 2,000 miles across country and came in Sunday night to be here for this evening. They're going to go Thursday, they're going to be driving back 2,000 miles. I really appreciate you being here tonight. It means a whole lot. And if you want to know how Lindsay Lane got his name, there she is. Behind them is my sister, Bernice, and her husband, John. I don't have a big family. There's only a couple of people missing from my entire family. That's it. That's why at 75 years, close to 75 years, folks, I have to move on. I want to spend some time with them doing things they want to do, because they have spent time watching me do what I want to do. Fair? As mayor, I've traveled the world, carrying the name Bolingbrook throughout the world. We've established sister cities. Because of the diversity of our community, we went to China to see other Chinese people in addition to the Chinese people in Bolingbrook and the Chinese businessmen. We went to the Philippines. We have a sister city in the Philippines with the Bolingbrook Road, City of Seven Lakes. In the Philippines, it was Qingdao. We went to Pakistan a couple years ago, had a sister city with Sialkot. There's a street in Sialkot named after Bolingbrook. We went to India, have a sister city with Chennai, India, as we traveled that country. We've established a sister city with the Congo, Brazzaville, the capital, with residents here in town. We've not been there as yet, but we have that sister city, and we're in the process now of creating a sister city with a city in Ghana. Because again, that's our diversity. Our diversity is not just in our residents, in our churches. As I said, we built 2 mosques without a problem. I think we're probably the only community in the state, or perhaps even the Midwestern country, that has at Christmas time a nativity scene sitting in front of our village hall. And it's been there for 33 years, 8 months, and 7 days. We have diversity in our schools, public, private. Certainly in our residents, as I said, our housing, our tax base, our jobs, our income, our restaurants. Diversity is a namesake for Bolingbrook. One thing we don't have in Bolingbrook, we don't have hookah bars. We don't have video poker. We don't have tattoo parlors. We don't have adult bookstores. We don't have gambling. We don't have marijuana. We don't have massage parlors. Folks, that didn't happen by accident. Now, you might say, well, maybe there's some revenue there. Oh, there is. There's revenue in gambling. There's revenue in marijuana. But, folks, if we come to balancing our budgets on drugs and gambling, Al Capone would love this society, wouldn't he? But But that's what, thank you, that's what we've come to. That was good. I hope. If you didn't hear it, she said, "I love you, Papa." You know, I get criticized for our debt. Yes, we have some debt, but we decided early on in this village, let's build all the infrastructure and get it done and then pay for it as people come to town because of that beautiful infrastructure, and they'll help pay for it as they expand and build property taxes. And we're very much doing just exactly that. We paid down the debt by $60 or $70 million these past 3 years, and we'll continue to pay it down. When I first became mayor, I went to workshops and functions, and of course, some of you know me, I was pretty proud. I'm mayor. I go to functions, "You're mayor?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Where?" "Bolingbrook." And they go, "Oh, Bolingbrook." Honest to God, oh, Bolingbrook. You know what? No more.
That's right.
No more. The world knows Bolingbrook. We got beautiful infrastructure, beautiful business parks. We got products made here in Bolingbrook shipped around the world. And the Grasecki's sitting over here, the Carlo Carpet Center, are going to be bringing more of that in, along with McShane, Prologis, Bridge, the list goes on and on. We have this beautiful performing arts center. I notice my critics criticize what we've done and the debt. They never mention this because, you know what? They like it. This is world class, isn't it? We have, over the years, planted probably over 10,000 trees in town. And that's including in the new King Road. Tree-lined medians, tree-lined parkways. It's great for the environment, and it's absolutely attractive, and it's great for residential development and sales. Basically, our infrastructure is done. As I've said, we should never have to issue another general obligation. You get that, Joe? General obligation bond, again, which puts the full faith and credit behind infrastructure we develop. All we do is pay off what we got, which is being done as we promised. In closing, I've had a lot of help. Be well, stay safe, and thank you. All right, trustee comments or question of the audience. Anybody in the audience have a question? Press? Anybody from the press? Thank you, thank you.
Didn't you just resign?
Trustee comments, reports. Trustee Zarate.
Hold on, we do have audience members.
Oh, okay.
Good evening, Mayor or former Mayor Clare, Deputy Mayor Lawler, village trustees, executive committee, and residents of Bolingbrook. My name is Steve Miller, and I'm the chair of the Hampton Park Social Athletic Club's scholarship initiative for this year. I'm joined by Tom Concannon, honorary life member, former club president, as well as Darren Reverin, former president of our organization. The Hampton Park Social Athletic Club is a non-political 501c3 registered charity. We were started in 1962, and our goal is to offer assistance to youth organizations in the area. We've helped youth sports teams and organizations, reading initiatives, field trips at district schools, law enforcement and firefighting causes, just to name a few. Over the last 3 years alone, we've been in position to assist these types of organizations with a little over $166,000. We proudly have a yearly presence at Bolingbrook's Village Picnic, Pathway Parade, and Jubilee. An initiative that we're most proud of is our yearly scholarship program. We have local high school students who are college-bound apply for a club-given grant, and we typically are in a position to assist anywhere from 4 to 7 students a year. These grants are typically in the $500 to $1,000 range. Given the pandemic we're all faced with, we're unfortunately unable to assist this year due to the inability to be out and about with our fundraising endeavors. However, I just want to focus for a moment or two on what we have been able to do over the years. Our scholarship program has been active for approximately 30 years. In that time, we're fortunate enough to have been in a position to award well over 150 scholarships to our college-bound high school students. And without hesitation or question, we're able to say that has been possible due to the unparalleled assistance by Mayor Clare. It's no coincidence that the scholarship program coincides with Rogers joining the club in 1991. There isn't much chance at all that we've been able to be as successful as we've been without his leadership and commitment to the endeavor. The community owes a great debt for what he has done to help these young people succeed. In my humble opinion, when people start to speak of legacies, that's a staggering one we should all be so lucky to leave. But Mr. Mayor, it's not like you're leaving our group. After all, you are a lifetime member. We hope you find the opportunity between visits to your granddaughter to join us at our once-a-month meetings and other functions. On behalf of our executive board, including President Fred Kincannon, Vice President Al Evans, Secretary Chris Kincannon, and Treasurer Bob Martin, we salute you, sir. Thank you, and Godspeed.
I know this lady.
You know this lady? All right.
Liz Campbell.
Yes.
Valley View School Board member for years and years and years and years.
It is good to give thanks to the Lord. Psalms 92:1. I'm so grateful that of all his plans for your life, one of them was to put you in mind. Thanks for being you.
Thanks, Liz.
All right. You're not finished. You know me. All right. To my sister Pat, my younger sister Lindsay, my brother Trevor, and little Samantha Joy, to this board, everybody, and to this community. I do want to have some things to say to our mayor. Just want to bring back.
We get a little closer to Mike.
All right. Some good old days, right? Remember the 1997 debate you and I had? We actually had debates where we could give each other high five. And as you can see, I didn't win the election back in 97, but, you know, now that he's leaving, you know, maybe there's a reason that I might be able to handle it right now, right? All right. But I want to thank you, Mayor Clare, for all the things that you do behind, and that your heart is kind, whether it's seen or not, but that God sees it, and that you know we have those 1 o'clock email texts letting you know that I am praying for you, and so I'm going to leave this village and these words and pray that they would exhort you also. I exhort, therefore, that first of all, supplication, prayer, intercessions, and giving of thanks be made for all men, for kings, and for all those that are in authority, that we may live a quiet and peaceful life in all godliness and honesty. For this is God, and is good and acceptable in the sight of God, our Savior, who will have all men to be saved and to come into the knowledge of the truth. I appreciate you for being you, because it's hard for somebody to accept me too.
Stick Quigley, President of Valley View School Board.
I'm actually not, thank you, Roger. I'm not up here as a president of the school board. I'm up here as a resident of the city of Bolingbrook, and somebody who has a lot of experience working with mayors in a previous life. I represented 38 communities in Will County, and over those years I met literally hundreds of mayors. I met Roger when I worked for a guy, you guys probably, some of you will remember, a guy named Jim Edgar, and I got introduced to Roger through working with Governor Edgar. I will tell you from my years of experience that all of the mayors that I've known, for all of the years I've known mayors, and I've known a lot of them, good ones, bad ones, and some in between, they all wish they were him. And we are so lucky to have a community like we have because of the leadership of a man like that. I have watched over the years, for 16 years, I worked with the Will County Government League and all those, the mayors of all those communities, and dozens upon dozens of times I would have mayors call me and say, hey, could you ask Roger how they did this? And I would say, no. Pick up the phone and call him yourself and ask him. Because I can tell you what leaders of communities like. They like to talk about their successes. And this man in this community has dozens upon dozens of them. And this guy will also tell you, if you're a leader in your community or anybody else, he'll tell you the mistakes they made along the way so that you don't step in the same landmines. That's what true leadership is. My wife and I moved out here about 20 years ago, and in that job that I held, I could have lived in any community in Will County. I chose Bolingbrook because I knew that this guy had a vision that he was enacting from when I met him in 1989, 88, 89. But that's why we came here. And that vision that he pushed forward is the town that we live in and that we are all that are here tonight proud to call home. So Roger, on behalf of my family, I want to thank you for all you've done, and all you trustees and all the trustees that have ever been here, thank you for what you've done to support his vision. Well, he asked, so I'm going to do it. So when I was working for Governor Edgar, actually he was Secretary of State at the time, and they said, you're going to go to Will County, you're going to meet a couple of guys. This one guy, he's kind of a wild card, but he's a friend of Edgar's. And then we got this other guy who used to work for the Secretary of State's office. He's a great guy. But it turned out to be just the opposite. The great guy's here. The other guy was kind of a wild card, and that's not the words that were being used, but I'm going to use the word wild card. But it is true. And again, Roger, just thank you. And he's a guy that stands up to his word. And when he and I first met, the first night I met him, we were in Joliet, and he said, hey, you've had a couple drinks. You want to just, if you need a place to stay, you can always crash at my place in Bolingbrook. I said, no, I'm good. I lived up by Wrigley Field. I learned how far that actually was back then. So, Roger, thank you again. Lindsay, Pat, Trevor, Samantha, thank you guys all for sharing your father, your husband with our community.
I also need to mention, I got a call today from former trustee Joe Morelli and Mark Stanish, who couldn't be here tonight for various reasons, but they wanted to wish us well. Elmer Harris.
My friend. And when I say my friend, I don't say it literally, because truly, Mr. Mayor has been my friend, what, 35 years?
At least.
So.
Closer to 40.
And he told me one thing. He said, Elmer, today you move into my town, I'm going to put you to work. Because of him, I've been with the police department as a police chaplain for the last 25 years. And it's a position that I don't hold literally, but it's a commitment because of the type of man he is. Agree that our mayor is a visionary. The Bible says, write the vision and make it plain. Well, he not only wrote the vision, but if you drive through Bolingbrook, he made it plain. I mean, there is no one that can say they live in Bolingbrook and cannot be pleased to be living in Bolingbrook. Bolingbrook crime rate is the lowest around. I mean, when you look at Bolingbrook infrastructure, I mean, look at restaurants. Any restaurant you want to go to is in Bolingbrook. All of that is because of my good friend. He had a vision. And he was not afraid to stand up and fight. He was not afraid to let folk know what he believed in. And he stood for what he believed in. That's what a great leader does. A great leader doesn't give up when times get hard. A great leader gets going when the times get hard. And truly, Bolingbrook, you may not understand it today, but in the years to come, the months to come, you're going to miss this great leader. Now, I'm standing here with the Bolingbrook Clergy Association, of which I am also a part of. And we just want to say, Mayor, we love you. We thank God for you. Your support has been unwavering. You've always been there for us, regardless to what. And we just want to let you know that we are here for you and your family. Pastor Kendricks is going to offer prayer for you and your family and your endeavors to come. I'm going to step aside and let Pastor Kendricks offer prayer.
Before Pastor offers that prayer, I just want to say this. The culture that you've created and cultivated is something that we all have a responsibility to maintain. Our diversity is perhaps the greatest thing that we have going for us. The infrastructure, the school, everything's great. But this, what we have, this oneness, this community, we can't let that slip. We can't let that slip. So we thank you for creating that culture for the children, for all of us. You've done a great job. We love you for it. We're going to do our best to maintain it, all right?
Thank you. Please, please do.
Minister Claire. You've allowed me to become a minister, a pastor in this area for 34 years. I believe one time you came to my church one time and several times and 3 or 4 other times. And each time you would come and you say, I'm only going to stay for a few minutes, but you end up staying for the whole service. And if I can just do this one thing for you today to let you know that we salute you, and that is this. And if you don't mind, I would just like to pray for your family and for you as you take your leave going, I think, back to go to California or wherever you plan to go. But just take a piece of me along with you, because I love you, I appreciate you, and the things that you told me when you first came and I met you, you have brought them to fruition. And a man is known by the work that he has done, and you have done a great work. As they said to Nehemiah on the wall, now you're coming down, but you've done a great job. If you don't mind, I'd like to ask everyone just to stand and just point your hands toward this man right here and his family. Amen. Most Heavenly Father, once again, we come to an end of another era of a great man with a great vision. And you say, without the vision, the people perish. And Lord, you have blessed this community to have such a great person, awesome person, that have led this community. Now, Lord, it's not time for him to rest in the pasture, but it's time now that he can go and enjoy his family and be what he wants to be in their lives. I pray, Lord, that you would bless his wife, his daughter, his grandchild, his son-in-law, or better still, his son-in-love, in Jesus' name. Yes. Bless him and keep him, and with long life, give it to him because of his tenure as a mayor of this great town. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Amen. And amen. Please.
You know, Pastor Kendricks did that heel thing. I got to explain that. The first time I went to one of his services, it was in a structure down off Frontage Road, since been torn down. There's buildings there now. And I went to his church, and it was a relatively small group, maybe 50 people. And he's pretty animated when he preaches. And I'm sitting directly behind him. And that's kind of awkward because the whole audience can see you. So you best pay attention, and you best listen closely and so forth. And every time he'd want to make a point during his sermon, he'd get there, he'd go to a point, and he'd have those letter heels, and he'd go, click. Startling me. But I noticed he had that down pretty good, so you don't have the right heels on tonight, I can tell. But all right, that works. Anyway, thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Well, again, thank you for all those comments. And then now you see why we started the meeting at 7 o'clock. I do appreciate, we had a very lengthy agenda. Quite honestly, in most communities, that agenda would probably take 3 hours instead of the time we do. That's because all these people do their homework and they're prepared. And that's why things move along. Trustee comments. Trustee Zarate.
Roger, I want to wish you well. I hope you enjoy your family. Thank you for giving me the opportunity that you gave me to join this wonderful board. We all love you. And I just want to say, you are George Bailey of Bolingbrook. You do have a heart, and you're loved more than you know. And I just want to wish you and your family the best of everything, because you are my George Bailey. God bless you.
Trustee Carbonzano.
Mayor Claire, it's late in the evening, and I think I've told you this to your face. I think I've said it to many people around the town, but you've been mayor longer than I've been alive.
You can't miss that, can you?
So, I cannot imagine, and I know Pat, Lindsay, and now Samantha Joy are seeing the sacrifice that this is for our community. I moved here, I'm sure as many of you did, for specific reasons. They may be different, but I will tell you they were all a part of this man's plan. His vision, this board's vision, previous board's vision, of course, but I will tell you, he got things done for Bolingbrook. I appreciate, and I think it was Pastor Trotter just alluded to it, I am so incredibly grateful that my family gets to grow up in a community that has Italian neighbors, Palestinian neighbors, African American neighbors, a plethora, just a melting pot of exactly what this country should be is right here in Bolingbrook. And again, that is not something that just happens. It is thought, it takes sweat. He probably made a few enemies along the way, but he got it done. So I appreciate and thank you personally on behalf of my family for the environment that you've created for us to grow in a community of love and giving and service and selfless act. And I don't think that's often said enough. And as Trustee Zarate mentioned, sometimes it's hard to see this man's heart, but I will tell you, he has a heart of gold. So I appreciate everything, Mayor Claire. Happy retirement. Congratulations, Pat, Lindsay, Samantha, Trevor. You're gonna get your man a little bit more. And happy retirement.
Mayor Claire alluded to the, I'll call it the reputation that Bolingbrook had. Our family moved here in March of '86. We were living in Woodridge, a town far north of here. And we were looking for housing, and our next door neighbor in the apartment complex was a teacher, and so she went first to Bolingbrook. I've told this story a few times, but I'll be short with it. She moved to Bolingbrook, and she sent a message back 2 minutes away to get over here, and we tried several realtors, and all of them told us, you don't want to move to Bolingbrook. And luckily, we found a house for sale by owner, and we moved in, and my 5 children and now my 10 grandchildren are so proud of being a part of Bolingbrook and are proud around the world and understand what it means to be from Bolingbrook. 25 years ago at this meeting, I was fortunate enough to be appointed as a village trustee to replace Bob Fagust, who retired as trustee. There's a gentleman who was there with me that night, and we share memories of this meeting, and that's Ed Bannister. I spoke with him a few days ago. He couldn't be here tonight, but wanted to send along his deepest appreciation for what you have done for the disabled community in Bolingbrook. Ed Bannister was with Coalition and still involved with Coalition of Citizens with Disabilities in Illinois and was an advocate and came to Mayor Claire asking for making life better. And we were celebrating the Disabilities Act, American Disabilities Act, and proclamation that night, and Ed Bannister has been back several times. This is the first community with Mayor Claire's vision, Ed Bannister's urging, to make homes visitable so that people in wheelchairs did not have to find a difficult way to get in the house. And those homes are in the west side, the newer homes. And he got that done with cooperation from the builders, encouragement from the builders, and maybe a little twisting here and there. You rattled off a number of major things that have happened in this time. You left one out. I'm going to say Clough Airport. 35, 40,000 people come to town every year, not this year, to enjoy. And it is a jewel in the state of Illinois and a jewel in the country. But it was a decision by this mayor, this man, to make sure that we had a treasure and we kept it, and it will live for generations. And that decision has impacted a lot of people. And I just recently interviewed a 15-year-old young lady who is working on her pilot's license because of the availability of Clough Airport. So thank you for the vision and the insistence on doing that. We talked about diversity. Last count that I got from the high school, 64 different languages spoken at Bolingbrook High School. People living door to door. So I just wanted to emphasize the fact that we've got so many people who chose to come here from all over the world and be a part of it. Lastly, to my former fellow trustees, I'm going to use the clean version of our favorite term of endearment. Thanks to the mayor, we're known as jagoffs.
I'm not putting that in the minutes.
I'll leave it on a happy note. One last thing, thanks to his vision in putting the stage here and to the drive of the volunteers to the Civic Cultural Affairs Commission, Jubilee will be happening this year. So look for information Friday, August 14th through Sunday, August 16th. I'll do my announcement about that. But this is the best performing arts center in the world. Well, thank you, Mayor Claire. Thank you, Mayor Claire, for allowing me, encouraging me, and making sure that wherever we go, and Bolingbrook is #1 in our heart, and I know it's #1 in your passion, and you have driven that message home to several people, thousands of people, and we're here today because of that. Thank you.
Well, Mayor, you've made it. It's pretty surreal that you have come to this point in your career. You certainly have an amazing evening, well-deserved evening here on the stage that was part of your vision. And we are all extremely appreciative and grateful for your dedicated years of service. Your hard work and dedication can never be questioned. And Bolingbrook has certainly made significant advances under your leadership, Mayor. And I've had the honor of a little over the past decade to work closely with you. And I know your heart and passion has been there, and it has transcended to the rest of the trustees. And we have been instilled with the understanding and the importance of paying attention to our constituents and being attentive to their needs. I want to say thank you to your family, Pat, Lindsay, Sam, and Trevor. Thank you for allowing the community to borrow Mayor Claire all these years, and we know it's been a huge sacrifice. And so I'm very happy for you that you're going to get the opportunity to spend more time with with Papa, and we salute you in that. So I wish you a long, healthy, and enjoyable retirement, Mayor Claire.
This could be good.
Roger, I don't know if you remember when we first met. It was at a Rotary auction that you were running at the Bolingbrook Golf Course when Rotary did the auction at that time. But I moved here in 1995. Excuse me. Moved here in 95, and a lot of people think that Roger and I have always been at an adversarial relationship, but that's not the case. For the first 20 years I lived here, Roger and I had a great relationship. Unfortunately, he's stubborn. But I was involved in not-for-profits. I supported a lot of the things that were going on. I was a Democrat in the Republican world, but I was accepted, and I got involved, and I asked Roger to get me involved, and he appointed me to the police pension board. I served on that. I did a number of other things. Whatever the village asked me to do, I was willing to do. As a business owner, I got involved with the chamber, but whatever I had to do to support this village, it was important to me to be a part of it. This is a great village. I love this village. And that man over there is the biggest part of why this village is the way it is today. Unfortunately, when I decided to run for trustee, that's when things turned sour. And hopefully, now that you're retired, we can get back on even keel. As a donation tonight, I would like to donate to your favorite charity as a gift of your retirement. You can pick that. It could be the Polish Federation, or it could be H2O, or it could be Lions or Rotary. You tell me, and I'll make a donation in your name to that.
Thank you. Before we go to Trustee Basta, I failed to mention H2O, Heart Haven Outreach, was started and put together by Pat Clare and Lindsay Clare. And I didn't mention that. That is one of my favorite charities. But they've dealt with thousands of kids, and they're still involved in it. They help when they can. So I want to thank them publicly for doing that, and thank you for your mentioning them.
Mayor Claire.
Trustee Basta.
Mayor Claire, before you go to Trustee Basta, would you allow me to say something? Thank you. Mayor Claire, first off, I ditto all of the wonderful comments everybody said tonight. So wonderful to hear them. I thank the Claire family like everybody has. But I started working with you in the late 70s, which is 41 years, a long, long, long time. And for those of you who know Carol Penning, you know I'm very independent and strong-willed, but of course he's the mayor and I'm the clerk. So I just want to say to you, thank you in those 41 years for not killing me so that I too can enjoy my retirement in the near future.
Before we go to Trustee Basta, this gift from the Muslim Association is fascinating. I was looking over at it periodically, and the globe was turning, and I thought, well, that must be the wind or the way it's sitting. And I've been sitting here watching it. It's a solar-powered or light-powered, so it revolves continually. What a cool gift. This is really something special. Thanks again, Muslim Association. Trustee Basta.
I have a bet with someone that this meeting would end before 9:30, and I want to win that bet. Mayor Claire, if Bob Jaskowitz could break up when he's making his closing comments, I'm not even going to attempt to make any. But with that, I would like to present you, we would like to present you with this.
doing real well to that. Those are some great pictures, great memories. And again, I've had a lot of help, a whole lot of you out there, certainly the people behind me, certainly the staff, and of course the family. We have no executive session. You know, I'm not concerned about him or her. That's a little nervous, and a police officer. But anyway, I've had a lot of help. There was no executive session, so we're ready to adjourn. Again, I appreciate your patience, and I don't know what's going to happen next. That's it.
Oh, that's so cool. Woo!
Is there a motion to adjourn? Second? All of us favor, say aye. We stand adjourned. Now, we're going to, if anybody here would like to join us, you want to call somebody and pick them up on the way out. At the Bolingbrook Golf Club, we're going to have some refreshments. Please join us if you can, starting as soon as we get there. They'll be ready for you if you get there ahead of me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait.